pertama kali saya mau masuk bubble, saya sih nggak pernah. Jadi saya berpikiran kayak, oh ya udah ini kayak tanding biasa aja, paling cuma kayak reguler biasa, bedanya mungkin lebih lama sebulan kan, cuma tanding. Ternyata setelah masuk bubble, 3 hari pertama masih oke, 4 hari pertama masih oke, setelah seminggu itu kerasa kayak mau gila. Kenapa mau gila? Karena kita benar-benar kayak, tau gak sih kita kan benar-benar kayak bubble itu benar-benar kayak kita di hotel, kamar, latihan, udah gitu lapangan, interaksi sama orang nggak boleh, kita cuma berinteraksi sama kayak teman-teman kita sendiri, berinteraksi sama kayak pemain-pemain kita sendiri, which is mostly kayak kita itu kerjaannya cuma mostly ada banyakan di kamar. Jadi kayak sebenarnya yang kayak berbeda itu adalah kayak masalah mental psikis sih. Yang tadinya kan kalau seandainya kita dulu kan kalau IBL dulu kan kita tanding per seri. Jadi kalau kita off kita bisa jalan-jalan, kita bisa keluar. Kalau kita off, kita nggak ada latihan, ya udah kita cuma just stay di kamar. Kita benar-benar kayak nggak mau ngapain kayak gitu. Jadi itu benar-benar ngaruh di mental sebenarnya.
Yus, mungkin bisa kasih gambaran dikit ya, kira-kira gambaran ketika hari itu ada pertandingan, jadwal dari seorang pemain basket seperti Yus itu seperti apa tempo hari waktu di bubble? Satu hari, mulai dari bangun tidur sampai tidur kembali itu jadwalnya seperti apa? Mungkin para penonton kepingin tahu jadwalnya seperti apa ya?
Jadi kalau kita ada game, biasanya kita tuh kan ada jadwal latihan kan. Nah kalau dulu, ini perbedaan saya sama dulu. Nah kalau dulu saya selalu setiap kali, jadi kalau hari ini ada game malam, berarti kan kita ada latihan pagi tuh. Nah biasanya kebiasaan saya itu kan saya istirahat, udah gitu makan, fokus, saya scouting, siapa nanti lawan saya, siapa yang nanti saya akan jaga dan siapa nanti yang akan jaga saya. Nah tapi karena bubble ini, jadi bedanya sekarang itu adalah saya udah nggak pernah istirahat karena mungkin saya udah terjaga anak kali ya. Jadi after latihan biasanya saya pasti akan ngobrol sama teman-teman. Habis itu kita bercanda, kita ngobrol, kita ya intinya gimana yang beda itu adalah saya lebih banyak ngobrol sih. Kenapa? Karena kalau waktu dulu reguler itu kan saya bisa istirahat, fokus, mau ngapain fokus kan untuk kayak menghadapi game ini kan. Tapi karena bubble kan situasinya beda kan. Kita berada di lingkungan ini, kalau kita nggak ada ngobrol sama orang kan kita bisa gila kan. Jadi kayak perubahannya adalah kita ngobrol sama teman-teman. Udah gitu baru nanti ya game itu part of the job gitu, kayak kita kayak bawa santai aja kerjaan, kayak kita baru scouting pemain. Kalau saya sendiri ya baru scouting mereka itu kira-kira sekitar kayak 3 jam. Iya 3 jam sebelumnya baru kita lihat kayak oh nanti lawan kita udah tahu lawannya siapa, nanti kira-kira oh lawan ini saya mau jaga siapa, saya dijaga siapa, weakness lawan ini apa itu 3 jam sebelumnya. Sisanya saya ngobrol-ngobrol kan nggak mau istirahat, karena kalau istirahat saya juga bingung, nggak bisa istirahat juga kebanyakan istirahat.
Yes, mungkin satu lagi yang mengenai kehidupan di bubble itu, antara latihan pagi sampai pertandingan malam itu kan selain tadi diomongin masalah ngobrol-ngobrol segala itu, tapi kalau untuk masalah gizi dan asupan makanan sendiri bagaimana sistemnya? Apakah makanannya udah disediakan oleh liga atau bagaimana? Atau
jadi kan liga itu kan bukan mengizinkan, apa sih namanya, memberikan kayak kalau seandainya kita tim klub mau makan kayak makanan di hotel itu mereka udah siapin, mereka udah ready. Nah tapi kebetulan Dewa United itu kita pakai catering sendiri.
Oke.
Nah, kalau masalah gizi apa segala macam ya itu klub kayaknya yang udah ngurusin kan. Jadi makanan kita semua makanan sehat soalnya.
Oke. Yes, kita sekarang lebih berbicara mengenai basket itu sendiri. Satu hal yang orang udah mesti tahu adalah Xaverius bukan pemain muda lagi kan, pemain yang istilahnya udah veteran, sempat
Masih muda.
Oke, tapi pengalamannya banyak lah. Kita ngomong pemain dengan pengalamannya banyak, dia udah bertahun-tahun pengalamannya. Tapi bagaimana, Yus, dengan tentunya dengan jadwal yang padat ini kan resiko ya, namanya resiko. Ya kita puji Tuhan ya ini tidak ada terjadi insiden yang parah atau gimana, tapi resiko cedera kan semakin meningkat ketika jadwal pertandingan sedemikian padatnya gitu.
Betul.
Kalau dari Ius kan juga udah memberikan banyak sekali masukan ya, juga pelajaran mungkin lewat online, ada kelas master kelas atau apa gitu. Dari pengalaman Ius sendiri, apa sih faktor utama yang terpenting bagi seorang atlet untuk bisa mencegah agar tidak terjadi hal yang buruk dalam hal ini adalah cedera ya dari padatnya jadwal pertandingan ini?
Jadi sebelum saya gabung sama Dewa United, saya udah berpikir kalau liga ini bakal bubble, karena kan tahun lalu ada bubble kan. Tapi ternyata setelah liga jalan kan kita dapat kabar kalau liga itu nggak bubble kan. Nah, itu udah mempersiapkan diri saya sedemikian rupa sehingga saya itu kayak saya nggak mau cedera. Jadi saya bayar selain fisik di Dewa United, selain ada pelatih fisik Dewa United, saya ada bayar personal trainer buat saya sendiri di luar untuk preventif saya cedera. Nah, gimana caranya supaya kita nggak cedera di saat kayak jadwal kita padat-padatnya. Nah, kalau di bubble sendiri, yang saya lakuin adalah mesti banyak istirahat. Pertama, itu kita selesai game, ya kita harus makan yang benar, istirahat yang cukup. Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua adalah kalau badan kita udah mulai nggak enak, kita kan di tim itu kan pasti ada kayak namanya measure kan. Ya, kita kayak kita minta pijit, kita minta rilis. Nah, kalau emang rentang waktu 2 hari libur, kita pasti akan dirilis. Udah gitu ada ice bath kan, jadi itu kayak preventif supaya kita nggak kenapa-kenapa. Itu aja sih, nggak ada yang kayak lain.
Oke. Yus, kita sekarang masuk ke performa dari Dewa United ya, secara di IBL 2022 ini, mumpung IBL 2022 regular season telah berakhir. Kita mulai aja dari pendapat Yus dari performa Dewa United Surabaya di IBL 2022. Bagaimana Yus?
Performa kita ya, jujur kita kayaknya masih belum stabil. Kita masih banyak belajar. Jadi chemistry kita satu dengan yang lain, kita mungkin masih belum klop. Tapi saya percaya di bulan Agustus ini kita bakal lebih siap dan kita bakal akan ngasih kejutan buat tim-tim lain.
Satu hal yang paling menarik ketika kita membahas Dewa United adalah peran dari pemain lokal yang sedemikian, menurut saya peran besar ya terhadap kampanye dari performa dari Dewa United di IBL 2022 ini. Kalau dari kacamata Yu sendiri, kita terutama ya kita melihat waktu 2 seri awal dan juga awal-awal dari bubble ini, itu tulang punggung ya dari masalah scoring dan juga performa tim itu ada di Caleb Ramot Gemilang, Xaverius Prawiro, ada di Kevin Moses Putirai gitu. Apa sih Yus, apakah ini mungkin pemain importnya yang terlambat untuk adjust atau mungkin terlalu sedikit waktu untuk melakukan adaptasi dengan tim atau sistemnya atau bagaimana Yus?
Enggak, jadi kan kita kalau Dewa United sendiri dari Coach Bedu sendiri kan udah bilang kan, kita itu bukan one man show. Jadi kita itu all about teamwork. Jadi kebetulan mungkin di saat itu ya emang tim lokal player kita ya bisa memberikan poin. Tapi kalau dibilang import kita jelek, nggak, pemain import kita nggak ada yang jelek. Semua pemain kita itu adalah typical team player. Artinya apa? Mereka bisa aja jadi scoring, mereka bisa aja jadi mereka tuh nggak melulu kayak mereka harus cetak poin banyak atau apa. Jadi kita bisa nyetak poin banyak, contohnya si Caleb bisa bikin poin banyak, saya mungkin bisa berkontribusi di dalam tim, Kevin Moses mungkin bisa berkontribusi, itu juga kontribusi dari pemain-pemain asing dan pemain-pemain lokal yang lainnya. Jadi Coach Bedu udah ngusulin Coach Bedu udah bilang kan, kita itu bukan, tim ini tuh bukan tim one man show, kita ini bukan tim yang ngandalin 1 orang, 2 orang atau 3 orang pemain, kita ini adalah semuanya. Dan kebetulan aja emang ya di saat itu momennya ada di Caleb, momennya ada di saya, atau momennya ada di Kevin Moses, dan momennya ada di tim-tim pemain teman-teman yang lain. Itu aja sih.
Berbicara mengenai Caleb Yus, dari saya sendiri, dari pribadi ya, secara personal dari Telekomentator itu kita selalu menerbitkan daftar-daftar nama dari performa terbaik tiap minggu yang kemudian nanti pada akhir season itu kita akan gabungkan penilaian itu dan memberikan list ya penunjuk siapa sih kandidat terkuat menurut kami pribadi itu yang akan mendapat menurut saya most outstanding player ya untuk lokal dan maupun import player. Dan salah satu nama yang menjadi kandidat terkuat tahun ini adalah Caleb Ramot Gemilang gitu. Dan ini ceritanya tentunya cerita yang menurut saya luar biasa sekali ya, comeback dari injury, kemudian off dari kompetisi basket level tertinggi beberapa lama, kemudian bisa balik dan tampil luar biasa seperti ini. Kalau dari Iu sendiri apa sih rahasia dari Caleb ini?
Sebenarnya nggak ada rahasia yang kayak spesifik kayak gimana sih. Caleb is Caleb. Caleb itu adalah kayak the smartest person, kayak dia kayak adalah salah satu pemain yang terpintar di IBL menurut saya. Gerakan dia tahu dia itu injured, Iya kan, dia adalah kasih injur, tapi semua mainnya dia itu adalah main efektif, main efisien, dan main kayak benar-benar smart. Dan bener, kalau kata saya, ya tahun ini emang tahunnya Caleb.
Hmm.
Nggak ada, ya itu sih nggak ada kayak rahasia-rahasia gimana. Caleb itu adalah salah satu pemain terpintar, kalau menurut saya sih.
Ya, ya, oke.
Hmm.
Eh, Yus, ini kita menuju ke pemain import lah ya. Tadi kita ngomong Caleb dan Kevin Moses sekilas. Sekarang ada kehadiran dua pemain yang sudah pernah main di IBL sebelumnya, David Seegers dan Emilio Parks. Nah, kalau dari kacamata IU sendiri, dengan sistem yang diimplementasi oleh Coach Bedu, apa sih nilai lebih dari kehadiran dua pemain ini?
Yang pasti banyak banget ya. David Seeger kan udah pengalaman kan, dia udah pernah main di Indonesia. Jadi David Seeger kita Coach Bedu harapin dari David Seeger kan seorang David Seeger ngebawa leadership dari David Seeger ke dalam tim, influence ke dalam tim kan. Jadi kalau yang si Emilio Park kita tahu kan kalau seandainya waktu Emilio Park main di Hang Tua, ya dia benar-benar kayak pemain yang bagus, pemain yang komplit, pemain yang all around. Jadi diharapin sama Coach Bedu itu sebenarnya bukan, balik lagi ya, bukan untuk mereka berdua tampil untuk mereka berdua sendiri, tapi balik lagi mereka berdua adalah support, mereka penyupport kita, kayak gitu aja.
Oke. Kelihatannya ada sesuatu yang bunyi nih. Tapi anyway, Yus, kita sekarang menghadapi ini ya, regular season telah berakhir dan kemudian kita akan menghadapi playoff walaupun masih 3-4 bulan lagi ke depan. Tetapi jadwal istilahnya lawannya nanti ditemui di playoff kan udah ketahuan nih sekarang bahwa Dewa United akan menghadapi Prawira Bandung nanti di babak playoff gitu. Nah, dari catatan saya di regular season, Dewa United masih belum berhasil untuk bisa mengalahkan Prawira Bandung gitu. Tapi kalau dari pengalaman IU sendiri menghadapi mereka, apa sih tantangan terbesar menghadapi Prawira Bandung ini?
Prawira itu kan pemainnya muda-muda semuanya dan mereka cepat-cepat semuanya kan. Emang kita di musim reguler itu kita nggak bisa menang lawan mereka. Kita skornya masih 2-0 kan. Tapi playoff is playoff. Playoff is different dan reguler kan. Karena playoff itu ya yang menurut saya mental itu nomor satu. Dan kita yakin apapun hasilnya kita pasti akan memberikan perlawanan buat Prawira dan kita bisa dan kita pasti lebih siap daripada reguler dan nanti kejadian di playoff.
Yus, 4 bulan yang persiapan yang cukup panjang, tapi tentunya ya nanti bakalan banyak persiapan dilakukan Coach Bedu dan juga Dewa United nanti untuk lanjutan playoff ya. Tapi dari Yus sendiri, seberapa yakin Yus Dewa United bisa melangkah jauh di playoff nanti?
Yakin ya, 100% pasti bisa.
Oke. Yus, thank you so much Yus, waktunya Yus. Thank you bincang-bincang kita mengenai Dewa United dan sekali lagi congratulations terhadap performa ya dari Dewa United di IBL 2022 regular season. Semoga sukses selalu dan tambah sukses nanti di babak playoff nanti. Thank you Yus, stay safe.
Thank you Bung, thank you.
Oke, itu tadi bincang-bincang kita bersama dengan Xaverius Prawiro, pemain andalan dari Dewa United Surabaya. Yang musim ini Dewa United mampu mencetak rekor dengan 13 kali kemenangan dan 9 kali kekalahan. Namun sebagai catatan juga sekali lagi apabila kita melihat IBL 2022 ini merupakan musim Indonesian Basketball League yang beda daripada waktu-waktu sebelumnya. Kita harus sadari juga bahwa pelaksanaan liga ini diadakan di tengah-tengah masa pandemi dan oleh karena satu hal yang jelas yang tadi kita sempat singgung, merebaknya varian Omicron dari virus COVID-19 menyebabkan pelaksanaan yang secara normal yang diadakan di seri 1, seri 2 tidak bisa dilanjutkan dan kemudian dilanjutkan di sistem bubble untuk seri ketiga hingga seri ke-6 dalam waktu 28 hari yang dilaksanakan di Jakarta dan pertandingannya dilaksanakan di Hall Basket Senayan Jakarta. Nah, setelah ini kita masih mengharapkan koneksi ya dengan Dior Lowhorn, pemain dari Pelita Jaya yang saat ini telah berada di San Francisco, Amerika Serikat. Namun jadwalnya masih sekitar pukul 8, jadi masih ada beberapa menit ke depan aja Namin. Untuk itu kita akan, sementara ini kita akan masuk dulu ke segmen 2-minute warning, di mana saya akan memberikan pendapat saya mengenai isu terbaru dari basket ini. Ya, ini adalah segmen 2-minute warning di mana kesempatan ini saya akan memberikan opini saya mengenai hal-hal yang sedang hangat dibincangkan atau dibicarakan dalam dunia olahraga di tanah air Indonesia, terutama dari cabang olahraga basket. Satu hal yang ingin saya sentuh adalah mengenai panjangnya ya masa jeda antara regular season dan playoff. Saya tidak ingin menyentuh mengenai masalah kenapa hal ini terjadi dan apakah ini suatu hal yang baik atau tidak atau gimana. Bagi saya kita harus mensyukuri bahwa liga di Indonesia, para penyelenggara liga terus berusaha untuk menyelenggarakan kompetisi olahraga basket tertinggi di tanah air ini di tengah-tengah segala keterbatasan, tidak hanya dengan diadakan di tengah pandemi COVID-19 ini, namun juga padatnya penyelenggaraan kompetisi olahraga di tanah air, sehingga ketika terjadi pembatalan atau rescheduling dari kompetisi yang terjadi di IBL di bulan Februari Maret kemarin, maka tidak bisa semena-mena bahwa liga IBL itu langsung menyelenggarakan playoff langsung di bulan-bulan berikutnya. Oleh karena kita sebagai terutama bagi umat Muslim akan masuki bulan puasa, kemudian juga akan disusul dengan pelaksanaan SEA Games dan juga pelaksanaan FIBA Asia Cup dan lain-lain. Pertimbangan-pertimbangan ini yang menjadikan bahwa playoff ini akan bisa dilaksanakan sekitar bulan Agustus nanti. Namun yang menjadi catatan saya adalah seperti yang tadi dalam pembicaraan dengan Xaverius Prawiro, adalah waktu 4 bulan ini benar-benar bisa menjadikan dalam tanda kutip musim baru bagi tim-tim yang masuk ke babak playoff nanti. Kita lihat saja bahwa pelaksanaan IBL 2020 diadakan di bulan Januari dan setengah bulan Februari. Hanya 1,5 bulan, itu 2 seri telah berlangsung. Dan kemudian selama bulan Maret, itu 3 atau hampir 4 seri diadakan sekaligus dalam waktu 28 hari. Pelaksanaan game yang sedemikian padatnya ini membuktikan bahwa apapun bisa terjadi hanya dalam waktu 1 bulan. Apalagi dengan adanya 4 bulan jeda antara akhir regular season hingga babak playoff nanti. Yang ingin saya sampaikan adalah babak playoff nanti di IBL 2022 akan menjadi satu ajang yang sangat-sangat menarik dalam artian bahwa tidak ada satupun dari kita yang bisa memprediksi performa dari tim itu berdasarkan performa mereka di babak regular season. Tidak ada satupun dari kita yang bisa memprediksi performa tanding mereka, hasil kemenangan dan kekalahan mereka di babak playoff nanti berdasarkan performa mereka di babak regular season. Oleh karena jeda 4 bulan ini, mereka akan semakin mengasah integrasi tim mereka, adaptasi pemain import dengan pemain lokal mereka, menerapkan sistem yang lebih baik lagi, menjalankan latihan lebih intensif lagi secara bersama-sama. Dan ini akan menjadikan babak playoff nanti menjadi satu hal kompetisi yang sangat menarik sekali, yang sangat berhak ya, sangat worth it sekali untuk ditunggu walaupun kita harus menunggu selama 4 bulan karena in between kita masih melewati jadwal puasa dan juga jadwal SEA Games dan FIBA Asia Cup nanti. Untuk itu, kepada semua fans, terutama fans basket Indonesia, fans IBL, ada baiknya untuk tetap bisa mengikuti perkembangan dari olahraga ini, dari olahraga basket di IBL ini. Oleh karena setiap langkah yang dilakukan oleh tim ini akan sangat mempengaruhi bagaimana performa mereka nanti di babak playoff. Kita tidak bisa lagi untuk mengatakan bahwa tim yang rekor terbaik akan memiliki kans yang besar untuk bisa menjadi juara. Mungkin ya, mungkin tidak. Seperti yang dikatakan oleh Xaverius Prawiro tadi, dengan adanya cukup waktu mereka akan mengasah ketajaman serangan mereka, akan mengasah performa dari tim mereka sehingga mereka menjadi yakin untuk melangkah di babak playoff lagi dan untuk challenge tim-tim yang lebih kuat dari mereka dalam tanda kutip seperti di babak regular season tadi, mereka akan memiliki keyakinan lebih untuk bisa mengalahkan mereka. Dan itu tadi 2-minute warning dari saya. Kita akan jeda sejenak. Jangan kemana-mana. Kita akan kembali lagi untuk mengikuti wawancara dengan tamu kami berikut ini. Ya, kembali lagi di acara Telekomentator Live. Jangan lupa apabila Anda suka dengan acara ini, tetap dukung kami. Jangan lupa like dan subscribe di Telekomentator melalui Instagram kami @telekomentator maupun dari YouTube channel kami di Telekomentator. Acara ini didesain untuk bisa kita menyajikan ya siaran langsung dari wawancara-wawancara yang kami lakukan terhadap para atlet-atlet Indonesia maupun luar negeri yang sedang menjadi topik pembicaraan dari dunia olahraga tanah air, terutama di cabang olahraga bola basket yang saat ini kita sedang ikuti IBL 2022. Nah, sebentar lagi kita masih menunggu hubungan dengan Dior Lowhorn, pemain Pelita Jaya Bakri Jakarta yang saat ini yang telah kembali ke rumahnya ya di San Francisco, California, Amerika Serikat, ya di mana dia langsung pulang ke negaranya begitu regular season dari IBL 2022 telah berakhir. Kita masih menunggu hubungan dengannya mungkin dalam 1-2 menit ini. Namun jangan lupa sekali lagi kita harapkan kepada para penonton untuk bisa sekali lagi untuk mendukung acara ini dengan like dan subscribe di acara Telekomentator Live ini, di mana kita akan selalu hadir tiap hari Senin dan Kamis pukul 19.30 waktu Indonesia bagian Barat. Sekali lagi kita masih menunggu hubungan dari Dior Lowhorn. Jangan kemana-mana, kita akan kembali setelah yang satu ini. Ya, saat ini kita sudah terhubung dengan Dior Lowhorn.
All right. Hello? Let's see my video. Hold on. Hold on for 1 second. I can't hear it. Hold on. Hello? Can you guys hear me? I can't. My audio.
It's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly. How about my voice?
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I had a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
What's going on?
What's going on, Dior? No, nothing. Just want to talk to you about the IBL 2022. We understand that you're already in San Francisco right now.
Not in quite San Francisco. I'm back in the Bay Area.
Okay.
I actually live in Hollister, which is about an hour and a half from San Francisco, and I'm actually closer to San Jose.
Okay.
I'm about 45 minutes from San Jose, but I'm out here in the Bay Area.
Okay. Hey, Dior. Let me ask you first about the performance of Pelita Jaya Bakri Jakarta so far in the IBL 2022. What do you think?
Obviously, record-wise, we're 20-2, right? So,
yes.
Record-wise, we have, we're in first place, first seed. So record-wise on paper, it looks, really good. What people may or may not know is, half those games were very close. We were neck and neck, a lot of them. A few of them went down to like the last couple minutes. A few times people were ahead, beating us. So, our performance was a little bit up and down in my opinion, just because, obviously we didn't have enough practice together preseason. And then we got stopped 1 month after we had a lot of the cases inside of the bubble after Jakarta series, the first series. So, obviously with all that being said, we performed well record-wise. But if you ask me, a lot of those games are down to the wire, and we still have a lot of stuff to correct before playoffs. And the good thing about our team is that we're pretty resilient. We got some fighters on our team, and also what helped us besides that was obviously I'm familiar with at least half our team from the previous year, and also not just that, but the other players that were new this year with me, I've known them just throughout the league on other teams. So chemistry-wise, it was pretty good because of that. I've been here, 4 or 5 years, and I've seen all these guys. I've played with them. I think that's basically it. We did the best we could with the situation given, with no preseason, taking a month off from COVID cases, and all the stuff that happened. All things considered, we did as best as we could. We did very, 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 very good. So,
okay. All right. Dior, let me ask you this. In IBL 2022, the competition was being suspended for a month, as you said, because of the Omicron variant of the COVID-19. And then they continued the competition in the bubble system. Based on what you've done so far in your basketball career, have you had this kind of situation before where you have to play very tight schedule, very hectic schedule in a very short amount of time?
No, not in my pro career. The last time I did something, last time I did something that was remotely similar was AAU basketball in middle school and high school. Because in AAU, you play, you might play 2 or 3 games in a row, whether it be quarterfinal, semifinal, final of a tournament, or whether it be you got to play back to back to back because there's a lot of teams in the tournament, and that's just the way it goes. But to do that format for a month straight, not a week or 3 back-to-backs, a back-to-back of 3 in 1 week, but to do that for a month, no. I've never done anything like that in my life. But the one thing I will say about that was that nobody got injured on our team except we checked. He sprained his ankle the last, I think, game before the last game. But well, nothing major, but we got away pretty much unscathed. So, that was a good thing. And actually, I thought for me at 34 years old, I thought I was going to feel a lot more tired, but I was able to get a lot of rest. Some games I was able to play only, some games only played like 10 minutes. There was a few games I played, 20 only, 18. So, we were a couple games we had good leads, or 3 or 4 games I didn't have to play as many minutes, so that allowed me to get rest. And then we had really good therapy from our staff in the hotels, ice bath, massage, Normatec, etc. Right? So actually, the schedule, believe it or not, what didn't leave me too fatigued, just because of the therapy, the rest, and things of that nature. So, but I've not done anything like that. I don't think I'd want to do it again. The bubble was actually better than I thought in terms of, food, hotel, therapy, and they had a couple of things for us to do in the hotel. Like they had like a 3-on-3 coaches game, and they did the best they could, right? But I wouldn't want to do anything like that again. No, I had my experience. And, in terms of being in a bubble and playing that many games in a month, in 24 days, 18 games in 24 days, I wouldn't want to do that ever again, no.
Yeah. Well, actually, it leads to the next question, I mean, the tight schedule and also the bubble system, it's not only, we're not only talking about the games, about the physical aspect of the basketball, but also mentally. How did you cope with this bubble during this bubble system? How did you? What did you do to keep your mental stable and healthy during this bubble?
Well, like I said, mentally, you gotta know going into it what's the goal, right? So the mental aspect and the physical start before you even get in the bubble, right? You prepare your mind, you prepare. Okay, this is going to be 4 weeks. I'm not going to be in here forever. We got a job to do. We got 18 games in 24 days. The 18 games in 24 days was the most thing to wrap my head around, because leading up to the bubble, I was like, man, 18 and 24. Like, I kept saying that. My teammates, everybody heard me keep saying that. Like, I couldn't believe we had to do that. I was like, 18 games in 24 days. Like, what? Like, it sounded like, it just, like, it was almost like my body was already hurting before I even played, because it was like a mental. But I had prepared my body, like, this summer. I mean, a lot of people know I was training with Milo, and like, shout out to Milo. And I went on this thing where I lost, like, I don't know, like 20 kilos at the beginning of the season, or no, 10 kilos, I should say. So I went on like this pretty good, diet, was working out a lot, I gotten really, so I was prepared for it. I felt, like I said, a couple months ago, I felt like the best I had felt in, like, man, probably like, 10 years or something, at least 7 or 8, 2012 or, 11, I hadn't felt this good. So, I have prepared myself for the battle, like, in terms of my conditioning and whatnot. But, mentally, like I said, in the bubble, once I got in, I was actually okay, because, like, Origi was my roommate. We would always talk a lot about the game, about, real estate. We were talking about everything, man. Music. So me and Origi bonded there a lot, and he was a great roommate, great player still, and I would actually watch a lot of the games on my phone if we weren't playing. I'd actually even I went to go watch a couple games at the gym just to get some fresh air out of the hotel and get my feet moving. We were allowed to get the IBL shuttle to watch games. So yeah, I mean, I pretty much did all that, and in between games, I was getting, like, they had a great setup for us in the hotel. Where we could get, like, any medicine we needed. They had, like, a clinic, and then they had like IV if we needed vitamins, or they had a really good setup for us. I mean, I'll be honest, like, it wasn't in terms of like the mental and the physical, they did a good job of helping us with that. They get, you know, there were some activities, like I said, they had the 3x3 for the coaches. So for me, I give it like the experience, I give like a B in the hotel. I mean, it was pretty good. And, you know, towards the middle and end portion of the bubble, I started to get a little bit like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. And once we got to like game like 8 or 9, and we had about eight or 9 left, it was kind of like, oh man, we still got 8 more. And then it'd be like, you know, 6, 7 more, then it'd be 5, and then 4. And then once we got to about 4, I was like, okay, we got 3 straight or 2 straight. These last ones, we're done in like 4 days.
Right.
So, you know, it wasn't that bad though. I really, you know, I don't want to do it again, but it wasn't all that bad. So.
All right. Let's now talking about the games, overall games in the IBL 2022 for Pelita Jaya. Especially as you said, when you get into the bubble, you have to play 18 games in 24 days for Pelita Jaya.
Yep.
And by the end of the regular season, the record is 20-2, 20 wins and 2 losses. Do you still remember where those 2 losses coming from?
Of course. We lost to Prawiro twice. So one of the losses I didn't play, got suspended or got ejected the West Bandits game from the first series. Won't talk about that. Kind of, you know, it was the most, I won't talk about that. But I got ejected the West Bandits game. And so I didn't play against Prawiro the first time they beat us. And then, believe it or not, we played Prawiro, I think, like the 3rd game in the bubble. And it was a great game. I think it might have been my best game in the bubble, probably, or second best, one of them. But we ended up losing to them. And, yeah, I definitely remember that. I'm glad we don't have to play them in the playoffs until maybe the finals if they make it and we make it, because they're on the other bracket. But they're, you know, the way they run their system, it's like the Warriors. They do like, you know, dribble, drive, shoot a lot of threes. That's basically what they do. I mean, they dribble. They have a bunch. They have 4 out, 1 in. They have Spencer rebounding and putting stuff back inside, and then they got a bunch of dribble, drive, 3-point guys. You know, Yuta, Abraham, Hans. So they hit a lot of threes. I think 11 or 12, and yeah, they beat us just, you know, playing small ball. And you know, if you're not hitting threes and they're hitting threes and they're, you know, playing good enough defense, they're going to win. So, yeah, so we lost to Prawiro twice. I definitely remember those losses.
Right. And at the game where you are in the game against Prawiro, you actually played really well, as you said, 27 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists and 2 steals, which is almost a complete game for you.
Yeah.
Well, as you said, you're not going to face Prawiro maybe until final if both teams are going through to the finals. But you mentioned a little bit about the Prawiro playing style, which is, you know, similar to Warriors, as you said.
Yep.
How do you prepare Pelita Jaya if for some, you know, for some chances you're going to meet again in the playoff? What things that Prawiro should really pay attention or really careful when playing against Prawiro?
Look at me, I'm like, give away the secrets now. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you know, against a team like that, you're going to have to, first of all, you're going to have to hope they miss shots. Because right now, the way, you know, especially Abraham is playing, I mean, the guy's like, every 3-pointer he shoots, it's going in. So it's like, especially the last like 3 or 4 games, he like didn't miss, it felt like. But the way you got to play against a team like that, honestly, is you got to switch everything. Because, you know, if they get a clean look when they do that little, you know, driving kick, dribble handoff series, you got to think 50% it can go in. So, you know, you got to, in my opinion, you got to switch a lot of stuff If there's a ball screen, you got to be high on the guards, and the big man's got to be high. You just can't allow three-pointers against them, honestly. And the other thing you can't get caught up in is, you know, they're driving. You can't overhelp, right? So you got to always have guys make them finish at the rim. You know, a guy like Yuta, I mean, you know, he's a good finisher too, but I'd rather let a 5'5" guy finish at the rim than get a wide open look from three, right? So you can't go for the bait. You got to like stay at home, stay with the shooters, and not overhelp, because as soon as you overhelp, they're looking for you to make mistakes. They play off of your mistakes. If you overhelp, they're gonna find the open man. Okay. So you can't go for the bait. You can't go for the fool's gold. You got to stay at home on the shooters. Defensively, they like to disrupt. Obviously, they like to pressure. They like to take charges. They like to do those kind of things. So you got to know how to handle pressure on the other end. And, you know, you got to get the ball inside against them. You know, they you know, right now they got one import. I don't know who their other import's going to be. You know, it was Sterling. It might be him again. I don't know. But they're lacking size. I mean, they get back Gallant, which is actually going to help them a lot, having Gallant back. You know, he played the last game or two. You know, if you're a team like SM or you're somebody, now you're playing against a complete Prawiro team, because at first they didn't have much size. Right. Now, if you had a guy like Gallant next to Spencer, okay, now you can go. You got a guy who can rebound and guard imports if you need him to. So you know, they're kind of a complete team right now, and you know, I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. I'll tell you that, until I got to play them. And you know, that to me is the way you're going to have to beat them. I mean, they're going to be a tough out though, because like I said, having Gallant, now that helps them inside. And it helps Spencer. And then whoever they get as a, you know, their other import, whether it be Sterling or maybe another big, if they get another big, I mean, now they're even more dangerous, in my opinion. So, you know, that's a team that can be very, very dangerous in the playoffs. So, and then obviously they're well coached. I mean, Singleton, he's one of the best coaches in the league. So when you add all that together, watch out, right? So.
You got a strong team. But let's not talk about your first opponent in the playoffs, Ranspik. What do you think about them? They have two veteran players in Holston Hayward and Akim Scott.
Tough. That's gonna be that's the matchup we didn't want. I mean, you know, for them to be an 8 seed is incredible. I mean, the reason why they're an 8 seed, though, let's just be honest. Akeem Scott came in, you know, 4 or 5 games into the season when they were already kind of struggling a little bit. Right. And Shane Hayward got suspended for 3 or 4 games. So their record isn't indicative of what kind of team they are. So to me, it's unfair that they're the 8 seed and we have to play them first, because, I mean, other than Prawiro and maybe SM right now, Rands is the other team I don't want to play. Hung 2 is another team I didn't want to play. NSH would be another team I wouldn't want to play if Mr. Optimus Prime decides to show up, because he's a force. But, you know, Rands was not one of the teams I wanted to play first. I'll be honest with you. But, you know, Hakeem Scott, now he gets to get rest. I mean, towards the end of the bubble, he was really looking his age, right? He's taped up, Kinesio taped up and everything. But now you get a guy like that with 3 months of rest and recovery and training, it's going to be a problem. So, you know, we got our hands full with him because we know he's the engine. And Shane Hayward, you know, he put on a little bit of muscle and size, so he's going to be good inside, good touch, good rebounder, good rim protector, right? So, I mean, they're going to be a tough out. I didn't want to play them as the 1 versus 8 matchup, but that's who we got, and we got 3 months to prepare for them. We you know, the locals, you know, they're, you know, Bima is a guy who, like I said, I always look at what guys did against us. He was 8 for 9 the first time we played against him. He had 22 points. We can't let that guy get open looks. I mean, he's a veteran shooter. You know, you give him open looks, he's going to knock them down.
Yeah.
You know, Oki Riwa is the same thing. You give him a couple looks, he can get one or hit 2 or 3 threes in one game and make a difference. So, you know, guys like that, can't give open looks. And, you know, like I said, they might get back Nuke. That's another guy you can't give open looks to. So, you know, and then they still got Tino and, you know, the other big guy that I think is pretty good, Salim. They got some good bigs, you know, so they're going to be a tough out, you know, that's going to be a very tough out for us. And we got our hands full, and we got 3 months to prepare for them. And that's the only thing we should be focused on basketball wise, preparing for Rand's pick.
Yeah. All right. Dior, you said that several times there's teams that you don't want to meet or you don't want to face in the playoff, you know, Prawiro, Ranspik, or, you know, SM, those things. But let me ask you as a final question. Based on what you've seen, the performance of other teams and other players in the IBL regular season 2022, is there any player who can stop you in the playoff?
Listen, I don't. You're talking about individually or as a team? What do
Let me
you
just say individually?
I mean, I think it's unfair to say anybody can stop anyone one-on-one. I mean, even me, and I like to say I've got good defense, especially in the post. I'm strong. I'm, you know, to say anybody can stop anybody one-on-one is unfair, right? You know, some guys get in foul trouble, they need help, you know. But, you know, like I said, guys that give me trouble are guys that are big like me, right? If I want to post up, a guy like, you know, Glover, Waters, Hayward, those are the guys that, you know, Foster, those guys that are physical or whatever, you know, that's what gives people trouble, right? Nobody wants to be played physical, right? Because then it takes away from them getting to their spot. It takes away from, you know, them doing what they want to do, right? But, you know, all those kind of guys, I think those 4 I just named, I'm just trying to think if there's anybody else slipping my mind right now. I don't think Dewa has, you know, they don't really have a big right now. They got Parks, but he's more of a 3-4. West Bandits, we don't even know who their other import is, so I can't really comment on them. I'm trying to just think. Like I said, I gave you the other 4. Yeah, I gave Dewa and SH. I don't know who am I missing that's in the playoffs. I think that's it.
Right.
So yeah, Foster, you know, Waters, Glover, and Shane Hayward. Those are the guys I think, in my opinion, in this league that are would give me the toughest task. I mean, the toughest, you know, matchup, just because they're big and physical. So yeah, I would, like I said, I don't think it's fair to say anybody can stop anybody one-on-one. That goes for me. That goes for those guys. I just don't think that's fair to say. But I think those 4 would give me the most problems, if that makes sense. Also, Todd Spencer. I got to give Todd Spencer credit too, because he's one of the guys actually that plays very good post defense, and he actually rebounds. He's one of the better rebounders in the league. I think he's top 2 or 3 in rebounds. And then, you know, believe it or not, I got to give a shout out to these guys too. The guys from Evos. Yeah. You know, people don't know about Evos is they didn't make the playoffs, but I believe, I could be wrong, but I think that they are the team, and if they're not number 1, they were up there with points allowed, meaning their defense was one of the best in the league. Yeah. The problem with them is they couldn't put the ball in the basket.
Right.
But Jaywan Hill had some big games, and him and actually Cisse play very good post defense, and they're physical. They're very physical. So, but for playoff teams, if we're talking about playoff teams, I'm going to say those 4 would give me the most trouble in terms of, you know, playing inside And obviously the difference for me in the playoffs, and it was like this in previous years, is inside outside ability. So when a guy can go outside and go off the dribble and shoot some threes, that's when you got your hands full. That's the difference in just being a post player, is if that post player can go outside and do stuff, then it's hard to stop. Then it becomes a difficult task. So I'm going to be relying on a lot of my outside game in the playoffs, because I know they're going to collapse the paint. They're gonna try to collapse the paint on me, right. And hopefully our shooters are ready. You know, Pross and Gofin and everything, because I know they're gonna collapse on me. I know it. I mean, that's what everybody does. So you know, as long as our shooters are good and I can hit 1 or 2 threes and kind of do that, I think we'll be okay. Yeah. But like I said, those 4 guys are definitely the more bigger physical players in the league. So they present the biggest challenge.
Okay, but based on what you said, how confident are you Pelita Jaya will go all the way in the playoff?
You mean all the way and win the whole thing?
Yes.
I mean, again, we got a lot of stuff to work on. There's a lot of holes that in offense and defense that we have that we can't have exposed in the playoffs. Okay. People get caught up in the wins. I don't get caught up in that. I get caught up in how we're winning. Can this work in the playoffs against the top teams? Because now we're taking everybody else out, and now these are just the cream of the crop. Yeah. So can that work in a series against a top team? Okay. Can that work in a playoff atmosphere where there's double the fans, hopefully, right, and it's a physical game and teams got 3 months to scout you? Will that same thing you do work with all that? No, it won't work. It won't work. So we've got a lot of work to do, offensively, defensively, chemistry. We can get better still. Our new player, DeMar, working him in better. For sure, we're going to need him. When I'm out the game and then those 12 to 15 minutes or whatever it's going to be for that player, those are crucial. Because if we got a lead or we need to keep that momentum going. So those minutes are very crucial. We got stuff to get better at as a coaching staff. Everybody's got to get better. I've noticed holes in a lot of people, including myself. There's holes and there's little kryptonite that needs to get covered up, so to speak. So do I think we can go all the way in terms of roster and name? Yeah, but name can only take you so far. On paper, you got Dior, you got Prestawa, you got Vincent, you got Wiechek, you got Reggie, you got Yesaya, you got Hendrick, you got, the list, Gofin, and the list goes on and on and on. But can that name on paper translate to the court? And the only way for that to translate is we got to get better offensively, defensively, chemistry, and as a coaching staff.
Okay. All right, big guy. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry I have to wake you up early in the morning in California. This is the time you're supposed to take rest. But hey, one more thing. When is you're planning to coming back to Indonesia?
I'm not sure. Our team is supposed to be perhaps doing a training camp. Perhaps maybe somewhere, maybe in Indonesia, maybe in California. I'm not sure yet. There's a little bit of because we want to get a good training camp before the playoffs. I mean, this 4 months is a momentum killer, if you want to say. So we need to get a good 1 month training before we start these playoffs and our team practices. let's say the playoffs start the 12th. We've talked about it, that maybe the team will perhaps come to California and do some training actually in June. That's been a discussion, and then we can go back, and then I would go back with them perhaps the first or second week of July.
All right.
And we would start our team stuff for about 4 weeks before we play the first series on the 12th of August. So as of now, I would probably go back about a month before the first game. So probably around July 12th. And hopefully during the month of June, our team can come to California and get some skill work, some sports performance training, some nutrition before we go into playoffs. Because I feel like right now we're going to need every advantage we can get. It's going to be a tough. This is going to be one of the. I think this might be the toughest playoff when you think about like Rands and Hong Tua, and if Glover comes, and when you start to you got Foster, SM, and when you start to add up the teams. It's going to be and then Prawiro, how they've emerged. It's going to be a tough playoffs. I think you're going to have to you're going to have to go all in, so to speak. So if we can get any advantage we can, we're going to take it. So we might come train out here in June, and then I'll probably be going back with the team sometime first, second week of July back to Jakarta. That's the plan.
All right, man. Just stay safe and stay healthy. Until we meet again in July, hopefully we see you in better condition. Also, having prepared better with the Pelita Jaya to face the playoff rounds in August. Thank you so much, Dior. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Reedy, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you soon. 4 months, hopefully, will fly by. We'll see.
All right, send my best regards to your wife and your kids. All right, take care.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oke, itu tadi bincang-bincang kita dengan Dior Lowhorn, pemain andalan dari Pelita Jaya Bakri Jakarta. Cukup panjang mengenai persiapan juga evaluasinya terhadap performa Pelita Jaya di IBL 2022 ini dan apa yang bisa dihadapi atau sedang dipersiapkan ya secara pribadi dari Dior Lowhorn maupun secara tim oleh Pelita Jaya dalam menghadapi babak putaran playoff nanti di bulan Agustus. Dan kini kita sekarang sudah terhubung dengan Wahyu Widayat Jati yang baru sudah resmi ya menjadi asisten pelatih dari Timnas Basket Indonesia. Kita masih menunggu hubungannya. Coach Wahyu, selamat malam.
Halo, selamat malam.
Oke, Coach, mungkin kameranya bisa dinyalain dulu, Coach.
Oke, baru beres ini.
Nggak apa-apa. Tetap jalan, Coach.
Ya, gimana?
Coach, thank you nih. Kita cuma bakal ngobrol-ngobrol singkat, sorry ganggu waktunya. Coach,
boleh.
Apa namanya, Coach? Bagaimana, Coach? Mengenai apa saja mungkin bisa di-share ya mengenai persiapan timnas kita ini. Kita kan pasti berbicara untuk SEA Games ya, Vietnam nanti.
Ya. Persiapannya baru hari ini mulai, tapi baru 3 orang ya, baru yang nggak main di IBL. Hari ini kita latihan.
Oke.
Ada Brandon Jawato, Agassi, sama ada pemain junior lah yang baru sekolah di Amerika, kita cobain, namanya Fatih.
Oke.
Hari ini baru mulai. Rencana kalau semuanya kumpul nanti tanggal 11, berarti minggu depan.
Oke. Coach, ini yang jadi pertanyaan kita fans basket tuh ada tercantum nama Marques Bolden gitu di dalam daftar nama mungkin ya, jadi daftar seleksi ya masih sejauh ini. Tapi sejauh ini apa yang kita bisa harapkan dari Marques Bolden? Apakah ada besar kemungkinannya dia bergabung dengan timnas kita di SEA Games?
Kalau dari manajer bilang sih confirm ya, dia akan datang bulan ini gitu loh. jiliknya berakhir gitu kan, karena mereka nggak masuk playoff juga timnya gitu.
Oke.
Ya kalau diharapin ya dia harapin ya apa yang head coach mau ya, karena kita kan emang secara apa ya punya kelemahan ya dari sisi big man gitu, jadi diharapin bisa nutupin posisi itu gitu loh. Itu sih dari offense dan defense.
Coach, ini kan daftar pemain yang masuk dalam radar seleksi untuk timnas kan sudah dirilis ya. Tapi mungkin secara overall kalau Coach Wahyu bisa memberikan gambaran kira-kira pemain seperti apa sih atau pola permainan apa nanti yang mau diterapkan oleh Coach Miloš ya dalam persiapan timnas kita menghadapi SEA Games nanti?
Ya kalau saya lihat sih ya nggak ada beda ya dengan apa yang Coach Toro mau ya. Maksudnya ada head coachnya timnas senior ya yang sebelumnya ya. Karena Coach Toro kan advisor juga. Gitu, dan dari Miloš pun menurut saya juga karena dia sama-sama Serbia mungkin mainnya juga sama lah, pola mainnya mirip-mirip lah, mungkin paling beda sedikit patternnya atau mungkin istilahnya situational game-nya paling itu aja sih. Tapi in general sih pasti sama.
Maksud saya Coach, apakah nanti akan lebih banyak diberikan kesempatan kepada pemain junior kita, pemain muda kita untuk istilahnya memperkuat timnas ini atau masih mencari?
Wah, kalau itu saya nggak tahu karena saya nggak bisa jawab, bukan saya coachnya. Coach saya nentuin, ya saya kan asisten jadi hanya bisa assist saja.
Oke Coach. Tapi dari pembicaraan ini apa menjadi target kita Coach di SEA Games nanti?
Kalau terakhir yang saya tahu kita harus perak. Gitu loh. Minimal itu perak. Target minimal.
Dan jadwal persiapan kita berarti kurang lebih 1 bulan Coach ya sebelum berangkat ke.
Ya 1 bulan pas.
1 bulan pas. Oke, Coach Wahyu, ini thank you so much. Nanti mungkin kita akan coba hubungi Coach Wahyu lagi minggu depan ketika para pemainnya udah lengkap dan mungkin latihan-latihannya mungkin lebih ini ya, Coach.
Boleh, nanti dikabarin aja kalau udah ngumpul-ngumpul, nanti kita berdiskusi lagi, dialog lagi.
Siap. Thank you Coach Wahyu, thank you waktunya nih di bincang-bincang sedikit kita. Nanti kita follow up lagi minggu depan.
Ya, bye. Thank you.
Thank you Coach.
Ya.
Ya itu tadi bincang-bincang kita pada malam hari ini bersama dengan Xaverius Prawiro dari Dewa United Surabaya. Kemudian perbincangan panjang dengan Dior Lowhorn dari Pelita Jaya Bakri Jakarta. Dan terakhir tadi sempat mampir Coach Wahyu Widajati dari Timnas Basket Indonesia. Tentunya satu hal yang menarik dari pernyataan Coach Wahyu tadi, walaupun secara singkat ya bincang-bincangnya, adalah kita saat ini Timnas Indonesia telah bersiap-siap untuk mempersiapkan timnya menghadapi ajang SEA Games tahun 2022 yang diadakan di Hanoi, Vietnam nanti, dan targetnya adalah medali perak. Namun tentunya seperti yang dikatakan oleh Coach Wahyu tadi, saya berjanji minggu depan kita akan mencoba untuk menghubungi Coach Wahyu dan juga Timnas Basket Indonesia lagi. Kita lihat bagaimana perkembangannya, apa yang bisa di-share, terutama berita mengenai kehadiran pemain Marques Bolden. Dan itulah akhir dari acara Telekomentator Live tanggal 4 April 2022 pada malam hari ini. Terima kasih kepada semua penonton dan jangan lupa untuk like dan subscribe di acara ini sehingga acara ini nanti memperoleh dukungan besar untuk dapat memperbaiki episode-episode mendatang ini. Terima kasih dan selamat malam, sampai jumpa lagi di episode berikutnya. Take care.